Sometimes we have to discuss things that disappoint us. Dark Angel Season 2. I loved Dark Angel Season 1, and I hadn't expected that at all. I thought it was just going to be a very fan servicey piece of crap, to be quite honest. I was never a big fan of Jessica Alba. She'd never really been an actress that I was really fond of. And so I was really reluctant to really get into the show. But somebody had told me that someone had told me Dark Angel first season, it was great, so I gave it a shot. And I loved it. I loved the first season of Dark Angel. I think it was really well balanced. The characters were fun and engaging, and they weren't just there to just do off one-liners, even though sometimes they would. It was a really strong supporting cast that I could enjoy wholeheartedly. But unfortunately, season 2 has none of the charm, none of the intrigue, and it's just straight up boring for the last half of it. I mean, I had to fast forward through so much stuff. And I would keep it on, though, too. I would have the fast forward button on and just watching it. And I would pause if I saw something was actually going to happen that'd be interesting. Wouldn't be. It would just be boring as hell. Just more crap. So, beyond just me telling you guys, let me explain to you actually why I felt this season was a big letdown in comparison to season 1. So, when season 1 ended, it ended with Max being taken back to Manticore and being reestablished as the soldier and being put back into that role. And so in the beginning of this season, we get a continuation of that. She's still at Manticore. She's still been training. We get the introduction to the character of Alec, played by Jensen Ackles. Basically, the first episode or so leaves with her escaping Manticore, finding other transgenetics, one who's mixed with dog but looks more like the lion from that Beauty and the Beast show that used to come out a long time ago. And she finds a way to escape and also ends up destroying Manticore in the process. That sounds great, right? That should be smooth sailings. But the problem is that when she leaves Manticore and this big bad, the first big bad of the series has been disabled, it leaves this big vacuum for there to be a really solid antagonist, and no one comes in to fill that void when the story continues. And they've made so many changes to the way the structure happens that it just kind of feels very forced. For example, in terms of Max's character just on her own, they removed all of Max's weaknesses. In the first season, she needed pills to replenish herself because she had to keep getting this vitamin she had to keep having this chemical, I forget what it was called again, but it's what's found in milk. She had to keep having that so she wouldn't have seizures. That's gone. The issue of her going to heat sometimes, even though it was silly and kind of a screw up, that was gone. The few flaws that made Max a more human character because she wasn't just some, god being, were gone. She had weaknesses, now she has none. She's just a super-powered transgenetic who can do anything, everything. There are no limitations to what she can do. And it's just very bad because you had a character who was already strong, already kick-ass, but you had to give her some few flaws to make her more believable. I mean, she was still a super soldier, but she was a super soldier with some imperfections, and you expect that when you're talking about transgenetics and science that doesn't really exist in our world. We understand that, but it's completely removed, and it's just kind of like, so that's it? So there are no more problems in Max's life? Okay. And on top of that, the romance between her and Logan was something that had always been, dealt with in the previous season. There had always been this issue of they liked each other, but they didn't know if they would get together, blah, 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 blah. But overall, it was tolerable. I mean, you could enjoy their relationship on the basis that they were, they were foils to one another as characters. Then, the fucking Manticore injects Logan with a serum that makes him deathly allergic to Max's touch. They cannot touch intimately. Now, I know this came out before Evermore, but that just made me think of that, and I was kind of like, not again. I mean, this aspect of the story ruined their entire relationship as two characters, because then they get all this romantic faux angle bullshit with it. It's like, oh, is Max and Alec gonna get together? Is it gonna be, you know, Logan and the chick from Birds of Prey? Like, what's going on? It would just be so much of that panhandling thing that I couldn't take it. It was like you already had them having issues that made sense with their class differences, their background differences, that made it realistic that they would have problems getting together. Then they had this whole thing, they can never touch. No thanks. That was a waste of time. The other issue that just basically comes in with Max's character is that they add in this kind of like this story that ties in more the Manticore about them, this group of people who have been trying to perfect the mutations of people, and they're like these natural super soldiers and so super secret organization, and it's so corny. It's just so corny. It's just like, this was the best you could come up with. It just, and her being the perfect mother super hybrid thing is such bullshit. It's like, that didn't need to be added to her character. It was fine just with the Manticore military storyline. That was perfect. That wasn't even completely finished. The way it was just blown off, while it looked really good, as soon as it's gone, you feel the effects of that 100%. No one came up to collect that weight. Beyond that, we do have a new problem on the scene. The issue is that when Max blew up Manticore, she unleashed all the transgenics who were in there, both the ones that looked like her and the ones who were kind of, you know, crossed with animal species who weren't perfect looking. And so this whole sub-storyline, and it ends up becoming one of the main storylines, is dealing with the tensions between humans and transgenetics. Again, you think this should be interesting. I think the main reason why this storyline just never really clicked with me is because it was just so over the top preachy that it never got a chance to just come off as a natural feel to it, because no one attached with Manticore did anything to kind of really stop this. I mean, you had the super secret organization, but that was it. But no one else was coming in to like rein in these creatures or take care of them or do anything like that. It was just kind of like, oh, we're just gonna la 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 la. And then on top of that, what really kind of made me just groan and roll my eyes the entire time is that they came up with the slur for transgenetics was tranny. Really? Are you serious right now? Mutant is not copywritten by X-Men and Marvel, okay? Tranny? Really? Considering how much trouble transgender people have with people using that slur to just encompass anything, you want to call these fictional made-up people trannies. Okay. But just going beyond that little fuck-up, it just, that whole storyline of them trying to have their own society and them dealing with the prejudice of the human group and all that kind of stuff, it just felt so out there. It never really fit in the show, even when I thought it would be a natural progression. There's just something not really well done about that storyline, and it's so hard to explain because on paper you would think that this would be a really intriguing thing, but it's boggled down by so much mindless gob of just mediocrity. And I guess maybe if they had a chance to do season 3 and really delve into that, maybe it would have worked. But it never kicked off. And at the end of the day, I think the biggest flaw of this season is it's just boring. It was just doggone boring. Like, I cannot even think of a reason to rewatch this. The secondary characters got blown down to nothing so they could raise up, you know, Jensen Ackles' character, which is fine. Which is an Ackles. I mean, he's beautiful. Let him do what he wants. But I missed original Cindy. I missed Herbal. I missed seeing more of Jam Pony. It seems that element of Max's life, that kind of seeing her human life and dealing with just her, got separated to deal with this whole community, and it didn't need to be there. I mean, I understand why she wanted to go back and free them and do all that kind of stuff, but it just felt like the focus of this show got widened to a place that the writers really couldn't meet it, and it just didn't work for me. And I could not enjoy this. It was just dull. The charm was lost. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like what they should have done was continue with the Manticore element, with Lydecker. That stuff was great, and it wasn't finished. There was so much more to have that could have been done with that storyline, and them keeping it secret and them dealing with that. But it's like all of a sudden it's kind of like, oh, the lab blew up, everyone escaped. Well, we'll try to catch some of them, but we're just gonna send a super secret organization out there, and even though they haven't done a single successful thing since the storyline began, that's who we're gonna leave in charge. It's just stupid, and I really don't know what happened in the transition from season 1 to season 2, but them trying to widen the focus did not actually help the show. It just weakened it and made it exceptionally boring and tedious. And it's really sad because I love season 1. But I guess for me, it just accepted the fact that this series ended with the season finale of season 1, because that was epic beyond epic. This is just, it has none of the charm, none of the feel. It just is really dull. Plus, I hate the opening. The opening for Dark Angel the first season, perfect. It was beautiful. It was not beautiful because I had that weird fetus looking thing. But it was just simple. It was great. Voice-over narration for the opening sequence, really, of the second season. Really? That's when I knew it was going to shit. I'm like, oh god, voiceover. Got to stop this. It was just. This felt like a first season, not a second season of a show.